and I don't know if you know this, but Tesla, they said this back at the end of 23. They said in 24 they're going to reduce the prices even more.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if they are or they're not.
Oh, they will. Tesla, the old joke about I'm afraid to look back because someone might be gaining on me. Elon Musk has BYD gaining on the Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, and they came out of nowhere. The only people that knew that was happening was Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, his partner, who passed away. Uh, they were in on BYD years ago. They're a super sharp company, and guess what? They outsold Tesla in the fourth quarter of 2023. I mean, they came out of nowhere, and they're Chinese. They build a quality car, and they have an amazing battery. And it's going to be it's fun to be alive if you're in the car business because you see things happening that you never dreamed would be happening. So I love to get up and check the news every day and see what happened.
Now that car's not being sold yet in the United States.
No, it's been banned. they're outselling Tesla worldwide without even being able to sell in the United States. The Biden administration has put tariffs or maybe just an embargo, I don't know, whatever, but they're not allowing the BYD to be sold in the United States, protecting the United States electric vehicle industry.
Yeah, all right. Well, for anybody that can't hear you, like I say, I'm using the phone for the audio. So
Thanks,
you're
Marty.
coming through nice and clear on that. So hope Nancy gets better soon. And we'll see you the regular way next week.
Sounds good, Marty. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
877-960-9960. Go ahead.
I was going to say, now we'll welcome back Lynn, a repeat caller from Boynton Beach.
Hello, Lynn.
Good morning, Lynn. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I just wanted to say that the other day I spoke to Nancy. I had gotten my $50 check, and I didn't realize that at my bank they don't take checks anymore at the ATM to deposit. They just take cash. So I had gone to the bank. Now, my husband's driving me because I'm recovering from a broken neck, right? Ooh. So we go up there a few times during the week, and I'm getting all frustrated. So it ended up where I just put it in my purse and forgot about it for a while. But it's been almost a month. So the other day I went back to the bank, and I finally had to go to a person to deposit the $50 check. But I called Nancy because in the check you gave me a card, and Nancy, there was a number on it. So I called, and I really couldn't believe Nancy answered the phone. and I knew she sounded kind of sick. It was like about 2 days ago, I think. And I was like, oh, my God. So we had a little chat, and I explained what was going on. And she was going to, I said, I just want to make sure you get in touch with your accountants because I know these things have to go through, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, so we had a nice little chat, and I felt bad because she didn't feel good, I could tell. And, but I have to tell you, you know, she is a trooper. And, yeah, and so we had a really nice talk. And, you know, you guys, you are so lucky to have her as a mother and a wife, you know, because she is just, wow, just great. Yeah, not only that, but she has fantastic penmanship, you know, on the check when she was writing, you know. So I just wanted to get in touch and say, you know, prayers for Nancy. And I had called a few months ago about saving the insurance on my car, and I called and I saved like over $250 on my total insurance bill for my two cars. And that's what, when I called, that was what I had called about. So that, too, every time I get my thing now for half price, I'm like, wow, you know, great. So thank her again for that. But I just wanted to call and say that you know, you people, your whole family is just fantastic. And we love listening to you and getting information.
Nancy's listening to you right now at home. And that
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Aunt Nancy. Okay, Happy New Year to all of you.
You too.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, bye-bye now.
Wow, what a wonderful caller. We have her for life now. She was a first-time caller before. Yeah. Now she's part of our.
We got her.
Yeah. Welcome to Earl on Cars.
And we'll say good morning to Frank in Jupiter Farms.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, there
Good
you
morning.
is.
Hey.
The lady's part of the new Stewart family instead of the Schumacher guy. Anyway, did you all see the sunrise this morning? How beautiful that turned out?
Well, we were just talking about that before the show, and Earl showed us pictures of the sunrise on his phone. We didn't see it personally, but yes, we did see it because we saw
Well, I'm gonna
pictures.
show it- I'll show
Amazing.
it to you, yeah.
It was like glorious, and I was telling my dad that I don't live near the ocean, but inside my bathroom it started glowing orange this morning. I'm like, what's going on? Is there a fire
Yeah.
outside? No, it was. Yeah, he's showing that on live on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I
We
sent
live
you
in
a
paradise,
picture.
that is
I
for
sent
sure.
you a picture, by the way, of the SpaceX rocket launch on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I saw that. You just sent that to me. I can't put it on the air because I'm not as
No, I
talented
realize.
as Jonathan, but it does look like a lion riding a surfboard or something.
Yeah. Yeah, this I haven't seen that one of those for live. That was someone posted from Jupiter Farms. But I had the golden opportunity back when I was still in the Air Force, downrange. I was on a rescue plane, and the shuttle would go over ahead of us in case anything happened. We had special crew members to go save the astronauts.
That's cool.
But, that was cool. But the other thing, let's see. What was I was going to talk about something
Hey,
else.
Frank, as long as you're talking about spaceships and having actually been involved in that, are you aware that the SpaceX now, all the spacecraft are stainless steel?
Yeah.
Did you
No.
know?
Yeah,
No,
the Starship is. Yeah.
Starship, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. What a radical change
Right.
to go. And stainless steel is pretty heavy too,
Yeah.
so it's apparently it's cheaper,
Yes.
and it's working a lot better, obviously.
They seem to work.
Well, I got one quick joke. You always know I have a joke for you guys.
Okay.
All right.
Since it's the holiday season. Well, we went out for Chinese last night, and we got talking to the waiter. He told me he lived in Japan during the war and was a kamikaze pilot, and his code name was Chow Mein. I said, well,
That's so
correct me
ridiculous.
if I'm wrong, but didn't kamikaze pilots sacrifice their own lives? He replied, yes, but I was chicken Chow Mein. Hey, look, you know, you're talking to a former pilot, both airlines and militaries, and so,
I get you. That's
an
an old one, probably.
See, I can appreciate that because I'm an old guy like you, Frank. So, but that used to be hysterical. But you know, it's I as long as you did that bad taste joke, I'll give you a bad taste joke back. When I first started out as a Toyota dealer, you know, back in 1975, and even before that, I guess probably, one of my jokes was on Pearl Harbor Day. I used to joke about we were going to have a let bygones be bygones day
Right.
sale.
Bygone sale.
And, you know, it was back when I was evil and had no feeling or sense of, or sensitivity whatsoever, forgetting about the fact that it was a horrible, Pearl Harbor was a terrible thing that happened, and the whole World War II, the greatest catastrophe of all mankind, and to be joking about that, only an idiot like myself
Well,
back in
time.
those days would say something like that.
Time allows for these things eventually. Maybe not in 1968, but nowadays you could joke around about.
yeah.
about what
Well,
we
the
do.
sad thing is when you tell some of these jokes, because of the age difference of the population out there, they don't even know what a kamikaze pilot was. They
Yeah,
don't even
exactly,
know.
yeah.
Right. They think it's a shot
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
with vodka and lime juice. I think whatever a kamikaze
Sounds
was.
about right.
That's what we
anyway.
had in Gainesville. Well,
Well,
thanks for
again,
calling,
we'll
Frank.
wish Nancy a safe.
Oh, thank you so much. We will
care.
definitely. She's listening, so she hears all the well wishes, and I'm sure it's helping speed her recovery.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
All right. Frank. Thanks, Frank.
And good morning, Jay in Hobe Sound.
Hi, Jay.
Good morning. I've got an issue. My mother-in-law does. She's 94 years old, and she only drives like 5 to 10 miles a week. And she's been having a problem. Her battery keeps dying, and I
Yeah.
believe that's because she's not out driving it enough for the alternator to charge the battery. Does that sound right?
Exactly correct. A couple things you can try. The most obvious, of course, is a trickle charger that either plugs into the house and would keep a small charge going on the battery, or they
Well,
make
let-
solar.
let me ask a question about that, Rick, because uh, I have the same problem. Nancy and I, we love the Tesla so much, we drive the Tesla all the time, and we don't drive our Avalon, and the battery keeps going dead. To have a trickle charger on there, is there a way you can put a trickle charger on a car without having to open the hood and close the hood? And
Oh yeah.
okay, is it a special kind of charger you get that you can connect from inside the car or something like that?
Not really. I hooked one of these up on my mother's car years ago, where it simply has a little cord that comes up by the windshield, and I zip tied it to a piece of trim, so she could simply unplug just one simple cord,
Oh,
and the short end, of course, was kept to the car, but it was locked in place.
have you patented that device?
No, because all I used was zip ties.
You're not a
Mechanics simple
patent.
as
I'm telling you
friend.
right now, you would spark the sale of trickle chargers 1,000,000 times, because I don't know, Jay, am I right? I mean, you've got a 94-year-old mother-in-law. She's not going to be popping the hood and closing the hood
Oh, no.
to put on and take off her trickle charger. She probably has to call you. Then you got to go over to the house. Wouldn't it be nice if she could just slide that little, basically a switch?
Yeah, it
Switch
was
on,
just
switch it
just a
off.
little plug. She would just plug it in. When she'd drive up to the house, she would grab the cord. I had a little, just a hook, so the cord would coil up and hang on the hook. She would grab the cord, pull it over, plug it into the car, and it would just slowly charge the battery.
What do you
And
think
when
of-
she was going to go somewhere, she'd unplug it,
Yeah.
hang the cord on the hook, and off she went.
What do you think about that, Jay?
That sounds like a great solution. And yeah, she's got a 2002 Lincoln Town Car with 37,000 miles on it.
Oh, wow, yeah. Now, the other option to consider, and this is one that would take some getting used to, is the idea of using Ubers. And because I mean, I see a lot of cars that come into the shop, and I admit I look over things quite carefully on the repair order and all this, and I notice a lot of very new cars, 2, 3, 4 years old, extremely low miles. And I question this because I wonder, someone is making a $400 or $500 a month car payment or more, plus $100 a month or more for insurance, to drive a car 20 or 30 miles, maybe 100 miles a month.
Let me stop you in mid-sentence, okay? The reason you're saying this is because you're a young man. You don't understand a 94-year-old woman, or in my case, an 83-year-old man.
The freedom
we want
machine.
our car. We don't
Yeah.
want a bus. We don't want a taxi. We don't want an Uber. We don't want a limo. We want.
Yeah.
Want to
my-
get up and go.
I had an uncle, Uncle Charlie, years and years ago, and Uncle Charlie got too old to drive.
I remember
He had
Uncle
a Cadillac, and every Sunday he and Aunt Marion would go around and visit everybody. That's what we did back in those days. You visited houses, you pull up unannounced, knock on the door. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's
So
weird now.
when he could no longer drive, he refused to sell the car or do anything with the car. Uncle Charlie had to have his Cadillac in his driveway. It was an old Cadillac, by the way, 20-year-old Cadillac. And it just sat there. The tires were square, but he felt good because that was his car.
All
And
right.
that's why old people like to have their cars that they can drive. And I know there's a lot of people out there say, yeah, but they shouldn't be on the road. They shouldn't be driving. Easy for you to say. You're not 94 years old, but I'm just telling you that if this trickle charger idea you just gave Jay is great. It'll really, really be
I simply offer it as an alternative.
yes.
But I do understand that, because I remember the days when we had to try to discuss with my father about it was time for him to give up his license.
Yep.
And one of the hardest things in my life, I'll tell you.
Yep. It
Stu,
is.
I don't wish that upon you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
The next thing, I won't launch into autonomous driving, but that's one of the reasons I'm such an advocate of fully autonomous driving, It's not here yet. People get mad at me when I talk about it. I got a bumper sticker on my car that my son gave me that laughs at it, and it should be laughed at today because it's not ready for the road. But when autonomous cars are safe, and they will be, it is going to be the greatest boon to the older driver ever. And people are getting older and older. I mean, 94 years old. Pretty soon we'll be talking 104 years old.
I don't even worry about that because
Yeah.
I know when I get to that stage,
Oh, you're
I'm
gonna have
I don't even think about that.
No,
I got 20 more years to worry about.
it's a done deal for you.
30
yeah.
more years maybe.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and also, she went into a Lincoln dealer, and they told her that they don't sell like regular old sedans anymore. They're all SUVs.
Is that true? Yeah, I saw, it's
Yeah.
really funny because I saw a Lincoln Continental yesterday. I don't know how old it was.
Town car?
Continental.
A Continental or a town car?
Yeah, and it was this big sedan, and it looked really contemporary, like a brand new car. And I looked at it, and I thought they didn't make them anymore. It might have been a few years old, but yeah, they're done with that. No more cars.
They gave her one of these new Lincolns to drive, and she absolutely hated it because of all the new technology. And I was wondering, does the
Yeah.
phone manufacturer make something that's more like the old analog?
Never going back that way.
No.
Never going back. All the manufacturers, everything looks like a computer. Everything has a large screen on it now, with a lot of infotainment
And for
and
that very
distractions.
reason, you'll find on the used car market, if you have a clean, well-maintained Lincoln Town Car, Lincoln Continental, or any vehicle of that type and description, where it actually has a trunk that you can put a couple of sets of golf clubs and some groceries and some other stuff. When you have a car like that and it's well taken care of, it's worth a lot of money because there are a lot of old people that still, like me. I mean, I wish we had. Actually, I do. I've got a good trunk on my Tesla
Yeah.
because it's a hatchback.
Because you got no engine.
Yeah, no
you,
engine.
You got plenty of storage space. You know, it's interesting. There is a market for simplified phones. There are people who are sick of smartphones,
Oh, yeah.
the distractions, and you can buy a simplified
consumer.
phone. There's that one,
Yeah.
but there's a lot. There's a lot of very stylish ones that are like they're great, but they don't have the stuff. I wonder if there is a market for a simplified car that just had like exactly what you're saying.
Great idea.
And just it's still sophisticated and a great technology, safe as anything, but you don't have to look at the distractions.
Well, you know what that
It's
car
got
is?
it's got a cassette player.
That's a fully autonomous car.
You're right. When you don't have to worry
You
about
don't do
it.
anything.
You just get
You,
there and talk.
You walk out, the car pulls up
Yep.
and opens the door, and you get in and you say, "Take me to Taco Bell," and or Walgreens.
And you can ignore all the bells and whistles. Just enjoy the ride.
I'd love to see
I
that
would
day.
wish somebody would start manufacturing like a '68 Camaro
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Well, they did those kind of retro-looking cars, but they still put all the technology in it. They could have just one less step and
Yeah.
just kept it like it
I'll
was
tell you
back
what,
then.
a new Lincoln Town Car today, limited production, would be, you could sell it for whatever you want to sell it for. People would buy that car today, and for the next 10 or 20 years, that would probably be a pretty good product. But it'll die, and the fully autonomous car will be here.
Rick's coach.
They'd sell their soul to buy their childhood back.
That's right. Well, yeah. I'd like to get my old
Thanks a
Super
lot,
back.
guys.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, and now we've got Bobby in West Palm Beach. And Howard, please hold on.
Wow, they're backed up.
Good morning, Bobby.
Hi, good morning. I was calling to report good work from Rick, which happens all the time, but I was calling to report it to the boss. But since she's out, I'll tell you, Earl.
Ooh.
I just want to let you know that Rick remains accessible for car problems, and I don't want to pile up a long line in front of him. But whenever I email him or have a problem, he always turns up and gives not just a superficial answer, but a good answer. In this case, it was a transmission on a Toyota, which has lifetime fluid, which is a little skeptical, and he seems to be of the opinion that don't mess with it. Is that good summary, Rick?
That's my opinion. My truck has 175,000 miles on it, original transmission fluid. I've never touched it, and that's on a pickup truck. And I've done some heavy towing with that thing.
It sure seems to me, and we're talking about Sienna in this case, but it appears to be quite a few of the Toyotas. Part of the lifetime transmission fluid is that they've made the transmission unaccessible for mechanics. Is that correct?
Yes, there's no dipstick anymore. The procedure to actually fill and top that fluid requires a scan tool, watching the actual temperature of the transmission, adding fluid, watching a little overflow drain plug in the bottom of the pan, then adding a specific amount back into it after you've finished. It's a very complicated system and a very complicated process to get that fluid level. And if it's off by even, say, a half a liter, that can actually cause the transmission to act
Bobby,
funny.
this discussion isn't even going to be taking place. We're talking about a mechanical device, a transmission that has been as nearly perfected as such a complicated mess can be perfected, and that's what we have now. But the really good news is transmissions will cease to exist because electric vehicles don't have transmissions. So it's an obsolete product. So the car manufacturers are not going to work on transmissions anymore. What you see is what you get. It's never going to get any better. And when they break, there's not going to be another one to replace it with. You're going to get an electric vehicle with no transmission.
Yeah, you're probably right, and it probably won't be too long from now. So, so I guess we need to stock up on transmission.
Well,
To
just
change
to
the
give a little spin.
To change the subject quickly, not to try to deceive the elderly, but sometimes the car not working is a way to keep people that shouldn't be driving from driving, and so getting it fixed isn't necessarily a good idea. You might just want to live with that. But I will say this about, and we deal with the elderly from time to time. If you can tell them, I'm going to come by on Wednesday and take you out to breakfast, and then we're going to go to Publix, and then we're going to go to Walmart. A lot of times they're good with that if they know there's a regular schedule and you stick with it. But as you said, Earl, the idea of having the car there is comforting to them.
Yeah, we're talking about them like they're a different species. I'm one of them species. So, no, what you're saying is exactly right. And when I was 50 years old or younger, and I'd see these blankety blanks on the road, I used to have derogatory names for them, and I find myself today referring to that old bastard or something of that nature, some derogatory comment, and I even will describe people. I'll say, if I get somebody complains about something, I might say to my service manager, "Yeah, he was an old guy just called me," and I'm thinking to myself, "Wait a minute, he was younger than I am." So there is a mindset, unfortunately, of people, a negative mindset toward older people. And I'm an old guy that makes fun of old guys, so it's just
you
not
never
right.
change. You are who you are.
Yeah.
But you know what the thing is? If there is a negative perception, it probably comes mainly from driving, and the anonymous car thing is going to eliminate that from culture.
Yeah.
If there's no, old people driving slow or frustrating people, and I'm saying that because, just, characterizing what we're saying.
Yeah.
But
Right.
in the future, no one's going to think about it.
Yeah.
Right. But having a time when somebody comes and takes them somewhere is also it's a scheduled event, and they like it, and you as car dealers probably know better than most. Two people staring straight ahead can solve a lot of problems talking to each other while they're driving down the road.
That's right.
It's not as bad as it sounds, and it ends up being better than they think.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of cases, you're right, and As Stu said, fortunately, we're not going to have to worry about that much longer because we're going to have the best of all worlds. Uh, the elderly can either have their own, they can ride by themselves in their autonomous vehicle, or they can have their friend ride with them in the autonomous vehicle. And if you ride with other people in autonomous vehicles, you can chit chat, you can text,
Play bridge,
you can play pinochle.
drink gin.
Right. So it's going to be a great world in a few
Right.
years.
No transmissions and no drivers.
There you go.
It's all going away.
All right, thanks very much, and kudos to Rick again. So, and let the boss know about that.
All right,
Thanks, Bobby.
Bobby. We'll tell her.
Okay, where
right.
are we?
We are going to Howard in Jupiter. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. How are you all doing?
We're doing great.
It's great. Okay, I have a question for Rick. This is a conundrum. I'm trying to figure out how this has happened. Every once in a while, maybe once a month, when I get out of my car, 2017 Camry XLE, the trunk opens, and I don't know why it's opening. So I go around and I close it, and maybe the next 2 months it'll happen again. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing to have the trunk open. I'm not pulling the lever in the front,
This is the remote.
which is manual opening.
Do you have smart key?
Yes,
There you go.
And the key's in your pocket.
yes.
You're opening.
And
with your
as you're
pocket.
getting out of the car, I'm guessing, like me, probably getting a little up there because I'm going to be 56 this year, and I've noticed I move funny getting it out of my truck now. It takes me a little effort, some funny moves, and I'll bet something in your pocket is pressing against that button, and it's because your car's already unlocked. Even hitting the unlock button won't do anything, but if something's pressing against that trunk button and holding it just long enough,
It'll do it.
those odd times that your trunk is popping open.
It's amazing. I think you hit the nail on the head. I just realized that's the only way. And I was thinking about something like that, but
Right.
I'm 88 years old. I forgot.
No, but you're going through like what's every single possibility here. It could be this, this, and that.
See,
That was the
Howard,
one thing
if
you
you
left
pulled
off.
into the average car dealer, they would charge you a $150 diagnostic fee, and then they would probably have fixed something they didn't really fix, and say, now you're good to go, Howard. That'll be $1,612.
Well, I learned my lesson a long time ago.
Yes.
The car dealer I pull in is you. And a friend of mine purchased a Toyota, and I went with him, and he has a 2019. Then he said to me yesterday, I think I'm going to go to another mechanic because my warranty is over. I said, are you kidding? The other mechanic is going to sell you something you don't need. When you go to Earl, he only sells you things that you need. And not only that, what about the bagels? He said, oh, the bagels? Oh, you're right. The bagels,
Yeah,
not
that's-
really.
The bagels are just tiebreakers. If you find a dealership that's just as good as
Tiebreaker.
us, yeah,
Absolutely.
but they don't got the bagels.
Now for that bit of advice, you can make the check out to Rick Kearney. Send it to. Totally kidding.
Okay, no, that's okay. Rick, you're great, and Earl, keep up the good work.
Thanks, Howard.
And you're a light, shining light to what
Thank you very much.
to car buyers and etc. Okay, I'm losing my train of thought now. Okay,
Thanks, Howard.
have a good day.
Happy New Year, Howard. Thank you.
And we'll go.
877. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's right. We'll go to Bob in Pompano Beach.
Good morning. How you doing, Earl? You have a great show, by the way. I want to
Thank you very much.
every morning, if I'm up. You know, what you said about cars being too complicated. I have a S-Class Mercedes, and I got one every 6 years or so. I trade in and get a new one. And I like the car, but the new one is they have this computer screen on it. And when it's sunny here in Florida, you can't see it that
Yep.
well. And that's one thing. And I'm really constantly just keeping the old car. I mean, I only have about 35,000 miles on it, so it runs well. But a few years ago, ride 106 and cruise driving until about 6 months beforehand. Never got in an accident.
Yeah.
So it's something people have to realize too. It's the nature of individuals too. You just can't
Right.
paint.
You can't paint with a broad brush like that.
And not an old guy, Earl, there, 83 years old, young boy.
He's a
But
kid.
the bottom line is, I really wonder about these electric cars. I live in a condominium, so I really find it difficult to charge it, whatever. But I just wonder what's going to happen with them because they have a big investment in it. I mean, it's a political thing, and it'll be perfect for me the way I drive, just plug it in and go, you know. But I don't know. Let's see what goes on with that.
Well,
It's going to be a bumpy road. I mean, electric vehicles. It's a watershed, huge quantum leap for what we do, and Tesla's leading the pack now. BYD is hot on their tail, and we're talking about old guys. Unfortunately, I won't be around when the water's calm, but they will calm, and my grandchildren will be driving fully autonomous electric vehicles with batteries ranging from 1,000 to 1,500 miles. There'll be no problem whatsoever. Probably induction charging. You'll pull into the garage. You won't have to plug anything in. The floor of your garage will put an inductance charge overnight on your vehicle. So, yeah, but for you and me and even people younger than us, this battery thing is going to be a challenge, and how far you can go on a charge. Rick?
Don't forget some of the inductive highways where, as you're driving on the highway, you can recharge your car.
they've tried that in Europe.
Really?
Well, it's going to be a bumpy road, but you're right. Today, you and me, we're going to. I have an electric vehicle. It's a Tesla. It's a challenge. It's only because I'm a gadget freak. I enjoy it, but if I just won the car for transportation, I'd say it drives me crazy.
Right, you'd probably get a hybrid or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that Toyota hybrid Highlander. It's a very nice car. I'm thinking about trading a Mercedes into that. I might come up to Pompano to see you guys.
I would love that.
Really, I'd love to do it. You guys run a good business too. I think I like people I could do business with a handshake. The car industry is hard to do that.
That's true. It always has been.
Thank you for your service, by the way. You do a great job.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye bye, guys.
Take care. Bye bye.
And that number is 877-960-9960, or text us 772-497-6530. And we are going to John in Stewart.
Hello.
Good morning,
Hey,
John.
Good morning, guys. Hey, I have a pristine 2002 MR2 Spider. It's got 92,000 miles on it.
Ooh.
And so I went in to the local dealership here, and they want to do a $800 service on it, change the fluids. And I was thinking I didn't need to change the transmission fluids like you guys were talking about. And oil change, and I don't know, basically that was it. I don't think that's necessary. What do you guys think?
Let's see, a 2002. I'm trying to remember. I think that one was the beginning of WS, but it might have still been the Type T fluid. Regardless, I myself, unless it were acting up, I would leave it alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
John
I'd
broke
be
it
very comfortable leaving that one go.
How's
If
it
it
running?
ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
It's running
Oh,
well?
it runs great. Yeah, it runs great. It's fantastic. It's like 30 miles a gallon or so on the highway. It's just been a great car for me.
That's that little convertible, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember I
Little
drove.
convertible,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like driving around in that. It was fun to drive.
Yeah, it's really fun. So yeah, well,
I was too tall for
like
it.
everybody said, give you some kudos there. You guys do a great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Have a good week.
Thank you
Cheers.
very much.
Bye-bye.
All right, you have any callers?
We are clear on the phones for
You
the
know,
moment.
can I get in a little bit of a commercial? When I said commercial, I'm thinking Big Dog Ranch, but that's not what I had in my head. The show started out with the fact that the Federal Trade Commission is being attacked by the car dealers. We knew this was going to happen. And for you folks who haven't been familiar with this or tuned in to the show before, the Federal Trade Commission has come out with some amazingly positive, consumer-friendly rules to make car dealers treat you honestly and ethically and transparently when you buy a car. It's revolutionary, and these rules go into effect July 30th. Now, we knew this was going to happen. There's going to be a huge, organized, extremely well-financed campaign to get your legislators to overturn the Federal Trade Commission and fight them to stop these rules from being put into effect. This is a huge. I'm asking you, listeners, if you have any thoughts, and I'm talking to Stu, sitting across from me here, maybe with our website, earloncars.com, we could come up. We need to maybe do an organized anti-lobbying campaign where we're reaching all 50 states now, and this show, and every congressman, every senator is key. And if we can somehow get the folks that listen to this show get proactive and let your legislators know you want the Federal Trade Commission rules to happen. No consumer, no car buyer does not want this to happen. And it's finally in writing. It's going to automatically kick in July 30th, 2024. How can we give the support and the pressure to our legislators in all 50 states to stop them? And I don't mean state legislators. I'm talking federal legislation in the U.S. Congress. Any ideas? We'd love to hear from you.
Well, definitely on Earl on Cars, we'll put all the resources there. Right now we have the link to make the comments, but I think we're past that point. We just want to make it easier for people to find their representative in Congress, because they're going after through in Congress, creating committees to try and weaken or attack this thing.
Should we start with the senators? And I'm just thinking, practically speaking.
I don't think that they have like that select committee set up. I think it's so much harder to meet with a senator, and I'm just saying this from when I did that.
There's so many congressmen. See, the problem is, if you're in California, New York, you got a zillion congressmen. How could we on our website focus and say this congressman is for the FTC regulation, this congressman is non-committal, this congressman is against it?
We'll have to start looking and see where that information is, and if we can get information, we'll try and centralize it on Earl on Cars.
Yeah.
But if you're listening now, if you know who your rep is, I'll tell you right now, in our immediate listing area, it's Brian Mast, and then right to the south of us is, oh gosh, is it Ted Lieu? I'm not sure. No, he's in Fort Lauderdale. Anyway, look up your local rep and your senator. We have two senators in Florida. You got Marco Rubio and Rick Scott, and all these guys, Democrat, Republican, they listen to who the lobbyists and the people that get in front of them. So, like you said, we're all resting easy, going, oh, we got this great rule coming. But there is an organized campaign nationally to squash this, or at least to neuter it.
Yeah, it's politics, and I hate politics, and I'm not good at politics. And as I said, I could never run for public office because I could never pass the background check. But
then there's a statute of limitations. It doesn't go back forever. You're old. You're fine now.
Yeah.
I got a text here from Bob. We were talking about the older drivers. He says, take 50 drivers that are 16 years old, 80 plus drivers who do you think are the safer drivers? Because my money is on the 80 plus drivers. I wonder what the statistics are. I'll tell you, I don't think, I think on the extreme ends, if you have a 125-year-old driver, you might want to be careful around that, and a 16-year-old driver, because they're nuts.
Well, here, and let me say this. This is coming from an old guy. It isn't the age; it's the acuity, you can have a driver that is 65 that shouldn't be driving, and a driver that's 95 that should be driving.
Well, we have an 83-year-old guy here who can talk extemporaneously for 2 hours, and it's all in the individual.
Yeah, so I would say this: as much as I hate to say this, there should be an enforced way to have people at a certain age prove their ability to drive again. I hate to say that, but
What if we did it to
isn't-
everybody?
it's too easy to get around. I won't mention the name of my doctor. Okay, I've got a general practitioner, and I've been going to him for years. And I said to him, just out of curiosity, because we're friends, I said, look, you've got a lot of elderly patients here, and I see them in the parking lot when I come and see you, and they shouldn't be driving. I says, how many of those people are driving cars? He says, Earl, he says, their licenses are gone. They know they can't pass the test, and their license expires, and they just drive very carefully and hope that they don't get sick. But he basically said that most of his patients should not be driving, but they are driving and they don't have licenses. So it's a crazy mess. It's a terrible mess. It's a sad statement, especially if you're an older guy or older gal.
I was looking at it more from kind of a financial side myself, is the idea of you're spending the money on a car payment, insurance, maintenance, fuel on a car that's sitting and depreciating. And if you add all that up, the amount that it would cost to take luxury Uber rides.
Here's the problem. It's not a financial issue. It's
Right,
an
and
emotional-
that's the side of it.
And there's no way. When I was your age, I didn't get it either.
Yeah.
I used to say they ought to take that son of a bitch's license away.
Well, and on
Should've seen that
another
on the
side
air.
of the coin,
I think you can say,
Bleep me out on
yeah,
that.
you can
It's
say
not-
that.
it's not always age either. A friend of mine, a very good friend, worked in the department of the Palm Beach County Library System called Talking Books, which are books on tape for people who are visually impaired to the point that they cannot read a book.
So if they check those out, you grab their license.
Well, what would happen is normally these would be mailed to
Right.
the people, sent through the mail. However, they had a large number of their patrons who, and to get these, you had to sign up and actually show medical reason why you should be allowed to use this Palm Beach County service. And they had a large number of their patrons who would drive to that office
To get the things they
to
could
pick
see.
up their audiobooks
Did they flag these
and
people?
bring them home.
Did they flag these people?
No.
Okay.
Well, it never occurred. There are a lot of people that like audiobooks like me, and I can read just fine. Stu doesn't read anything except audiobooks.
Right. Well, this was
That's
this
not
was
true.
back in
I
the
know.
'80s when we didn't
Well,
have
so
the
what?
internet
I
for
mean,
them.
so what? If people had explained to me about
By the way-
audiobooks 20 years ago, I would never read a book again.
Right, but this was back when you couldn't get them on Amazon.
this is back
It
in the
didn't
day.
exist.
It's from-
And this was
scientific.
the only way to get these audiobooks was
Okay.
to go to the place or to have them mailed to you.
Hey, what's your doctor's name? Was it Mandrake Kirby, the guy you didn't want to identify?
Yeah.
I think that was Johnny Carson's doctor
You know, I was just saying that there were people legally blind
that were doing this.
who were driving to get these books. So
I
it's not just age.
I got
Well,
you.
that's not to belabor. I was just thinking, but as far as assessing the ability, maybe they should do it periodically. I haven't been assessed for my driving since I was 16. I mean, maybe they should do it
I
every
just
10
got
years.
my eyes checked. I got my cataract surgery.
But let's be
and I
fair.
got a letter from my ophthalmologist saying, give him a license.
Well, how you
But they
get-
didn't tell me to take a test.
Right. Once you start at age 30, every 10 years, you got to take a test to prove that you're a good driver.
Well, I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it should
There
be.
you go.
Yeah, I don't think it should be
There you
based
go.
on age. I
But
think
that's autonomous.
you're
Here
right.
we come.
Exactly. We have a new future coming.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay,
Let's-
and our phones are shut down now, so we're ready for.
Okay, and you can still text us. We'd love to have you text us at 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. Or send us anonymous feedback at youranonymousfeedback.com. Youranonymousfeedback.com. And when we get to the mystery shopping report, we'll probably have some time, and we can talk about your text or your anonymous feedback.
And we have YouTube up and running in its basics.
Yeah.
So please vote on YouTube as well, because we love your comments there.
Yeah, vote on the curve. I'm going to read this mystery shopping report. There are no really great dealers, so there's no A's. I don't mean that literally, once in a while. And there are not very many F's. I don't mean that literally either. But you know what I'm talking about. Average. Shoot for the middle. The average dealer is pretty bad. That's a C. Here we go. We mystery shopped. I didn't know they were there. If I did, I forgot. Mystery shop of Palm Beach, Mitsubishi. Last I heard of Mitsubishi dealer in Palm Beach County, it was on North Lake Boulevard, and that's another story. Mitsubishi is probably the lowest volume vehicle sold
I'm
anywhere.
surprised it's still around.
And I'm surprised it's still around, but it's interesting. They're on Australian Avenue in West Palm Beach.
Huh.
And I'll speak in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning, our crack undercover agent that goes in undetected and pretends to buy a car and comes up with these fabulous mystery shopping reports.
She needs a theme song.
She does, yeah.
I'll work on that.
We have a theme to play this year.
Okay, I'm Agent Lightning. I walked in mid-afternoon, 1:38 p.m., was met by an employee, as is to Palm Beach, Mitsubishi in West Palm Beach, Florida. Palm Beach, Mitsubishi. The salesperson, or this person, it wasn't a salesperson, asked, "Do you need a salesman today?" I replied, "That'd be great." He excused himself, looked around for a bit, and returned to say, "I believe they're all in a meeting." I
love
walked
that.
around looking at the two cars on this room floor. He came back and said, "I called her. She will be down when she's done with the meeting." Now, this goes back to my old days when I was, this would actually happen in my dealership. And if there's one thing, if the owner of this dealership is, by his name is Chris Berrien, I happen to know the guy personally, Chris Berrien. You know, I don't know how much money you spent when you bought Palm Beach Mitsubishi or built it, but it was probably a lot of money. And you didn't spend all that money to have a dealership, so when a customer, prospective customer, comes into your dealership at 1:38 p.m. in the afternoon and comes in to buy a Mitsubishi, and the receptionist says, "I'm sorry, all the salesmen are in a meeting." That's what happens. So I just thought I'd throw that out there in case Chris Berrien is listening. So the salesperson said that she'd be down shortly. The person I was speaking to responded, "Let me see if I can find out how long it'll be." He walked away again a few minutes later, 1:49 p.m.
The timestamps.
A saleswoman approached and asked, "Have you been helped yet today?" "No, I haven't been helped. You're in the meeting." "I haven't been helped." Anyway, that's a divergence. I digress. I replied, "No, I haven't." She asked me to follow her to her desk. At her desk, she asked, "Do you have a vehicle in mind?" I said, "I like the idea of Mitsubishi's new plug-in hybrid, the Outlander PHEV."
She
And,
went, "This is the first time someone's ever came in here and requested the Mitsubishi from me."
she-
No, I'm just kidding.
and wondered if they had any. She looked one up online. I said, "I got one. I'll grab the keys." We headed out to the lot. She handed me the keys to the new 2023. Remember, this is 2024 we're talking about. New 2023. Folks, this little editorial comment. Be careful when you talk a new car today, because we've had a calendar year change. And a 2023, when you trade it in, whenever you decide to, they're not going to know whether you bought it in January of 2024 or January of 2023. To them, it's a year-old car. So you're looking at a new
Yeah.
car that's a year old.
It's nice if you can get a 23 sometime in 22.
Yeah. Yeah, or it could be 2 years old. You could buy a new 2022. So here it is, a new 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV in black diamond. I saw the MSRP was $48,005 with no addendum. That's a good sign. That's the only good sign you'll see in the shopping report. We talked a little bit about the gas savings I would be getting, but the salesperson, she wasn't very informed about the car. She said, "If you want to take it for a drive, we could go back inside for me to get you registered, a copy of your license, and a license plate." I asked, "Can I drive it around the lot so I can see it real quick? I don't want to drive it until I know if I'm going to move forward or not." She agreed. Waited there while I went around and played around with the parking and the new gear shift. When I backed into the spot, she stepped back over to meet me at the car and asked, "What do you think?" I said, I like it. Would love to see the pricing on it. I saw a deal on your website that's offering this vehicle for $41,505, a $6,500 discount. Now that's a huge discount, folks. I mean, if you're shopping for a car, or you have in the past couple of years, you just don't see a $6,500 discount off the MSRP. I showed her the ad on my phone. We went to her desk. I showed her the outline, the online pricing I was seeing. She called over sales manager and introduced himself as Mark. Mark shook my hand very firmly, squeezed pretty tight, making me jump and say, "Ow!"
Yeah, what's up with that?
Rude.
This is comical, but it's not comical. I squeezed my hand so hard, I yelled. He didn't say anything.
He just came over and squeezed her hand.
Like I'm sorry, and jumped right in, taking over the computer. So I was going to say it just gets worse. It can't get much worse. I showed him the online deal on my phone and said, unfortunately, there's a typo. Just a typo. Things are constantly changing. You know how that goes. He clicked on the drop-down box, and pointed out what all needed to happen to qualify the 6,500. So they hide the conditions, and you have to hit a box that drops down that says you have to be a
Astronaut.
a communist or an astronaut, apparently their online pricing included an assortment of unobtainable rebates for the average person. We've seen this before. You've got to be a farmer. Seriously, there actually is a farmer discount. You have to be a farmer.
And there's a real estate agent.
Yeah, real estate agent. A $500 customer conquest rebate would be all that you may be able to get, he said. Now, conquest, that means you are driving a competitive car. Then he suggested that I consider leasing, saying if you lease, $6,500 or $6,700 would come off the top with the electric vehicle tax credit.
And that's true, but it's true also with the purchase. You have to get set up. We're doing that now with our dealership.
Yeah. Now, it's not true for all electric vehicles either.
Right.
So we didn't do the research on this, but anyway, be careful when you're talking electric vehicle rebates, because not all electric vehicles qualify.
Now, I do know, I don't know if they did the same as remember they did it for, wasn't cash for clunkers, it was the old tax credits, and they'd had a certain amount per manufacturer. Is that the same case with this, or is there a cap?
I think that they changed it this time so that all the rebate goes to the dealer who can go directly to the customer.
Right. Yeah, right. So, we have a portal that we're setting up now.
Yeah.
So if someone buys an electric vehicle from us, that comes off like a rebate at the time of sale.
Yeah. It's an automatic thing, he suggested I lease it. Listen carefully, this is pure fraud. He suggested I lease the car, and then once I make the first payment, pay it off or refinance it, mentioning that it's a loophole many people don't know about. Well, it's a loophole that people, whether they know about it or don't know about it, it's a terrible idea, because if you lease a car and you make one payment,
you're stuck.
You're screwed. Yeah, because you owe 36 more payments,
right,
or 48 more payments, or whatever the length of the lease.
This might have been possible, maybe right in the beginning of this inventory surge, where you could have gotten out, but not a day into your lease,
so
or a
just,
month into your lease.
Terribly premeditated, false advice given by this person,
Sneaky
this
stuff.
salesperson from Mitsubishi. I ignored the leasing aspect, went straight to the pricing. Your website showed I was getting $6,500 off sticker, MSRP, not $3,500 before the EV credit. He then said for me to come to his office where he could help me better. I followed. On the way, he continued to say that he honestly doesn't like the sales tactics that dealerships use, and then named a bunch in our area that also don't give the details they advertise.
Yeah, she didn't say which ones they were. I hope it wasn't us.
Well, Well,
Well, he's in West Palm Beach. He's
and the
going to
fact
name
that he's
everybody.
working for a Mitsubishi dealership that doesn't sell any cars would tell you he's having a hard time getting a job because a car salesperson worth his salt would not ever go to work for a Mitsubishi dealership. He tried to get a job at a dealership that sold a lot of cars. Mitsubishi does not sell very many cars. On the way, he continued to say that he honestly doesn't like the sales tactics. Oh, I just did that. I replied, this is exactly why my husband refuses to step foot into a car dealership with me unless he has the final numbers, knows exactly what he's dealing with. We've been burned too many times. It appears this is going to be another one of those. He said he understands that what can he do for me is to call the owner of the dealership. That's Chris Berrien, by the way. He got to Apple.com. I don't think I could reach Chris Berrien. He's one of these people that is hard to reach. And plead my case that the online shows a $6,500 discount, and we're only $3,500 now. Let them know we have a pissed off customer, and hopefully they'll give me the deal. So that ain't going to happen. The salesman is desperate at this point. The saleswoman, right? So
Yeah, a saleswoman and a manager.
and a manager.
And we only have the name of the manager. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We did at the end. There's a card. I didn't include the picture. Not important.
So I said, please show me your price as if I was buying and leasing so I could show my husband. Mark printed off the lease first to try and sell me on this. He was explaining it to me as I was looking at the sheet. He said, did Agent Lighting really say that he said this?
Yes. I
Okay.
didn't make this
This
up.
is so bizarre. Mark printed out the lease sheet first to try to sell me on this. He was explaining it to me as I was looking at the sheet, and he said, look at my eyes when I'm speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have just, I looked up and then right back down as I was shocked that he said that. I mean, of course, that's really weird, isn't it? Look at my eyes.
I had a moment like when I read this and I pictured like this bizarre scene. Look at my eye. I thought it was like
I mean,
Zanzibar, like Voltan.
It's
Sounds
so
like
bizarre. I just
the
thought maybe
mesmerizer.
Sounds misogynistic to me.
Well, that's what it is. I think she was probably taking notes, and he was irritated because she made a comment that they were getting frustrated, and he was rude. And
How dare you not look at my face when I'm speaking?
Yeah.
Maybe he was
Look
hard
at
to
me when I
at.
talk to you.
Oh.
That's what you say to your child.
Look
right?
in my eyes.
The top line showed MSRP of $48,005. He took off a $3,500 discount to make the selling price or capitalized cost, $44,505. He reduced the capitalized cost using a federal tax credit of $6,750, Mitsubishi's finance a $1,500 rebate, and a $500 conquest rebate for leaving Toyota. Agent Lightning drives a RAV4. I also volunteered a $5,000 down payment. Cooked into the lease was also an $1,199 junk fee. The lease also allowed for only 10,000 miles a year, pretty low. But that's not that low. It's about average, really.
But they don't have any other fees on? No other dealer fees?
Well, there was. That was all we could see on the worksheet was that dock fee.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but we've seen this when we have
Well,
these
there would have been
worksheets.
there would have been a lease admin fee, which
Yeah.
We don't call a junk fee because it's a leasing company
Right.
junk fee, but it's a
Right.
junk fee. So there would be, and the admin fee that Agent Lightning didn't see probably be around $700.
Yeah, but we also don't know what happens in finance either.
No.
So this is a very simplified worksheet.
Yeah.
It doesn't have
In the
all
box.
the detail we usually see.
He then said if I decided to purchase, I could talk to my accountant about getting a rebate back for the PHEV electric option, mentioning that I may or may not qualify for that on my next year's taxes. He went on to say that I would not get the captive bank option. That's for leases only. He said he will honor a $500 conquest rebate because I have a Toyota car now in my household. He pushed hard on the lease option, but I held firm and left. And of course, car dealerships typically will push to lease because the lease is where they make more money than they do when you buy the car on the average. probably about twice as much. So there you have it. A shocking, I
Yeah.
hate to prejudice the grades by saying this, but a shockingly bad Mr. Shopping report on a shockingly small dealership.
It is shocking because usually Anne Marie doesn't grade often, but she came in here right. She's the first one I got. What kind of salesman squeezes a hand so hard it hurts? Physical assault. Doesn't back off and expects to sell a car. False advice, rude, etc. Here's a crushing automatic F.
You know, the salesperson sounds like a psycho.
Yeah. Well, no, that was a sales manager.
Sales manager.
Yeah.
No, maybe they're
Yeah, he
both
crushed his
psychos.
hand and said, "Look into my eyes." Oh, here's this from. I got this from Bob. A for Palm Beach, Mitsubishi. Oops, I'm sorry, that's a typo. It's really an F. Yeah, things change all the time. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, I mean, like some of the business stuff wasn't like, so far out of left field, but those personal touches, the crushing of the hand, and telling telling her to look in the eye. Not Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie is not our shopper, by the way. I have Anne-Marie on the mind. And yeah, I'm going to fail him. There was shady advice with the whole, and bad advice with the getting out of the car early. So yeah, I'm giving him an F.
Well, what probably isn't going to make any difference anyway because nobody buys cars there anyway.
Right, yeah, right. But somebody's going to ask us, do we have a Mitsubishi dealer on the recommended list? And we're going to say,
Well, can I tell the story about Stu and I got a call from our real estate agent because he has some property on Northlake Boulevard, and he wanted to sell it to us because he could get us the Mitsubishi franchise.
Right.
So after we got through laughing
Right.
and said, well, who would want a Mitsubishi franchise? And the sad thing is, I won't mention our real estate agent's name because it would embarrass him.
But he was
He
going in.
actually, to sell the property, he took 25%
Right.
of the property and sold it to a Mitsubishi. Somebody that did want the Mitsubishi franchise. They lasted how long?
At months.
A month?
Yeah, I mean, short
No,
number.
longer than that.
Really?
I think probably a year. But nobody wants to buy Mitsubishis. And
Yeah.
anyway, I digress. More votes.
Okay. We've got Donovan says, this is easy. F. Mark Anderson, grade D. $500 to leave Toyota for Mitsubishi? Who does that? Tom Seckel, F. My dad shot down Mitsubishis in World War II. This deal deserves the same treatment.
That's right. They were the zeros.
Terrible sales tactics and fraudulent advice. Guy Larrabee, because of the inaccurate lease information and the doc fee, I give him a D. Brian Slatko, it's a D for me. Johnny Fradley, look into my eyes, Mr. F minus. Maybe the sales manager knew she was Agent Lightning. Cliff Picks, look at my eyes. I would have walked out. F.
You know, I'm laughing here because Nancy's not here. And Nancy, we sometimes refer to her as the Black Widow because she really is tough. And a lot of people agree with her, by the way.
Yeah.
She's really tough when she grades these dealers. I mean, we'll give a C and she'll give an F. I wonder what Nancy is thinking about this. She may be on her way over to the Mitsubishi dealership. Now, you're
It's a
lucky
great
that
book.
Nancy's got COVID because if she didn't have COVID, she'd come over there and kick your ass. I can tell you that right now. Terrible, terrible report. I'm going to give them an F.
Yeah.
And I don't ever give Fs too, but man, that's a terrible report.
I wish we had a camera on Nancy right now.
Oh,
Her
man.
face is probably 16
Listen,
shades of
if
purple.
you're on the way over to the Mitsubishi, don't do something you'll be sorry for.
Go over there and cough on them. No, that would be biological warfare. Don't do that. I texted Nancy. I want her grade. Don't feel obligated to if you're feeling under the weather. Well, there you have it. You know,
Yep.
F for Palm Beach, Mitsubishi. They're going on the do not recommended list.
And a couple more grade scheme.
Easy there, Rick.
Rick, you should
Excuse
be
me,
the one.
sorry.
You're going to start
I
all
can
the
help you.
answers.
Mark Smith gives him a D.
Yep.
Johnny Z. Fraley, LOL Donovan. Sorry, that's not a grade.
Yep.
And Donovan Lewis, the FCC is loving this radio show today, LOL. And did you get extreme rides?
I did not.
F, 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 F. A bunch of Fs.
Oh man.
There we go.
We got just a couple seconds here. We're thinking about Mitsubishi, and we're thinking about the F we just gave, and we're thinking how bad the car dealer network is, and we're talking about the Federal Trade Commission getting rid of dealers, and how we're talking about direct sales, and if you think a car dealer or a manufacturer's got a problem like Mitsubishi, how about Fisker? Fisker, I think they're one of the first electric vehicles around, and they are so desperate that they're going the other way. They're looking for 50 dealers to sell their cars because they can't sell them direct. Here they have the holy grail. They have exactly what all manufacturers want. They want to be like Tesla and sell cars direct.
How much is the franchise? Oh, let's check it out. Nancy gave her graph. Nancy gave us her grade for Palm Beach Mitsubishi. It's a long line of Fs. Thank you, Nancy.
I saw one of those Fiskers down at the Aventura Mall years ago in the mall.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, though, that was a beautiful car.
Yeah, it was a good-looking car.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you got to be desperate. But here you are. You can finally have a pleasant retail honest experience, and they can't do it.
They can't even do
and
that.
They got to sign up. They got to sign up with the. Hey, Matt, maybe Mitsubishi, Chris Berrien, Mitsubishi, get yourself a Fisker.
Get a Fisker. Berrien Fisker
A
Mitsubishi.
Fisker franchise.
That would be great. Well, I think even with our technical stuff, we did pretty good without the two biggest helps that we have in the studio.
Yep.
I mean, I was really nervous about doing it without Nancy and without Rick, but we'll see you next week
Yeah.
here on Earl on Cars.